Everyday Juggler, your source for juggling highlights, interviews, tutorials, and reviews. And now your host, Sean Livingston.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Everyday Juggler Profiles. Today we get to hang out with Master Ong, or Marvin. Thanks so much for being with us. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been juggling, and what you're most excited about when it comes to juggling and or flow right now.
Well, I'm from Malaysia, currently based in Los Angeles, and I've been doing prop manipulation for like 9 years, juggling technically 4.5 years. And and what I've been most excited about is I think this new style of juggling. It's spreading a little bit, and more people are doing it, and I'm excited to see more people doing more interesting stuff. Yeah.
When you say new style of juggling, what do you mean?
Well, I guess like some people call it like the flow mixed with like juggling, and but I think it's more like contemporary or modern style. I mean, from what I've seen, the French people do it the most. French juggling, but it's not really French juggling. But but yeah.
So that's your kind of favorite way to juggle. How did that develop in you?
I think the first time there was this contact point spinner or juggler from Scotland that they brought to America in 2011, 12, and 13. Keith Marshall. He came 2012. He stayed with me for a good couple of weeks, and even though he was known for his poi, he brought out his 3 clubs, and he was doing something that I was for sure I've never seen before, and I was like right away I was intrigued, and I was like, what is this style of juggling?
So you're saying he hadn't juggled poi before?
No, he juggles poi. He does a lot of poi,
okay.
and he's pretty popular for his poi. But when he came over, nobody knew he did clubs, I guess. But he was already doing clubs, and then yeah. But before that, I also met another European juggler, French juggler, Valerie, in 2010 at Fire Drums, where I was really new in all of this. I was spinning poi for a couple months, and I was watching him doing club fishtails in the daytime, and I think that was like the first trick when I saw, and I was like, I have to buy clubs. And then the week after, I bought a pair of clubs. So I had a pair of clubs for quite a while before I had 3 clubs.
That's awesome. So when you first got your clubs, I guess you had already kind of seen a couple people manipulating them.
Yep.
I don't even know. I don't know the names of the kind of the club tricks that you do, but I mean, are there any?
I mean, club swinging,
right.
Contact club manipulation. I guess
Okay.
the main 3.
Okay, but there's not like a specific names for like when the club goes over this way or when you twirl it this way and then catch it or whatever. It's just kind of
A lot of it. I've noticed a lot of it. They get lost and they don't really have names. And when I was in Europe asking around people, and they didn't really bother with the names. They just do the trick, which is kind of like awesome. So this is like less talking. It's just like straight away do the trick.
Right.
But yeah.
Does that make it harder to teach people?
Not at all, actually. I've hung out in Brazil with some of the Brazilian jugglers, and some of them barely spoke English, and we connected and trade tricks just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even better, I think. But yeah,
that's awesome. So, but I guess the question I was going to ask is, when you got the clubs, did you just kind of start figuring out how they work together, like on your own?
So when I saw that guy, the French juggler, he was doing fishtails, and then at night he was doing 2 club swinging on fire, which looks like poi, but then if you swing the club smoothly enough, it makes a really nice optical illusion. So right then I was like, I already know how to spin poi. I need to learn how to swing clubs, and then I need to learn how to do like club contact and stuff. Mm-hmm. So then I had 2 clubs for like 2 years. And everywhere I go, people ask me like, "Where's my 3rd club?" And I was like, "I don't have a 3rd club," which is like they give me this like weird looks.
Who needs 3 clubs?
Yeah, and then Keith came, and I saw Keith's 3 clubs, and I was like, I gotta get 3 clubs, and my 3 club journey began.
Okay, and was that really kind of your first foray into juggling? the two clubs
Uh,
in the club,
y-
third club.
yeah, two clubs, and then was from poi, and then two clubs, and then I didn't really want to juggle. I've seen people juggle. It didn't really speak to me
Hmm.
until Keith came, and then he did his like juggling style, and it I was like, I need to learn to juggle right away, like,
Hmm.
and yeah, I've been juggling since.
So what would you say kind of are the main differences between juggling and poi?
The main differences, I think the main differences, if you just talk about juggling and poi, I guess traditionally poi would be focused on the patterns, on the patterns that the audience view, while juggling is focusing on like how hard can I land this trick. I guess that's just traditionally, but times are changing.
Mm. Uh, you think that these things are coming closer together?
Oh yeah, definitely. Slowly they're moving, and the circles are touching, and people shifting and being, I guess, more open minded for like just doing both, and just like it's not much of a
Hmm.
separate. I guess if you learn all of them, it's like language, right? If you only speak one, it's cool, but if you can speak a couple, and then even you don't use it, it's just an advantage that you have.
Hmm. Um, yeah, we met at the RIT Juggling Festival, and there's a lot of really great jugglers in that area or at that festival. And it was so fun to see them. Like, I think your classes, you taught like two or three,
Yeah.
had more people at them than any other one. um, Not because the other classes weren't great, but it's just like there was like there's some sort of like passion in all of us, maybe like a curiosity of like what is this that Marvin does. So I think it's kind of catching fire, and I think you're doing well at kind of leading that cause.
Yeah, I'm glad to see people are interested in it, and because it's the thing that got me into juggling, and that's what I'm like most interested about or with juggling.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's good to see it like people being interested in it and sharing the knowledge.
Hmm.
I'm just like paying it forward, like.
So is this a big conspiracy to get jugglers to do poi one day?
I mean, I think poi is great. Everybody should do poi, regardless if they're jugglers or not. It's a good prop to. I feel like in terms of the differences, I think poi traditionally two poi helps people like. It's more like I don't know if holistic is the right word, but it's more about the feeling of the poi
Mm.
rather than how hard can I land this trick? Because before I spun poi, I think I've never taken any like dance classes or whatever. And once I started spinning poi, I wanted to practice in front of a mirror so that I could keep my lines straight. So then from there, I've learned like sort of like my body movement.
Hmm.
So that really helped, I think, with my juggling in some ways.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I I I guess I think based on I haven't actually done much flow at all, but based on what just things I've heard flow artists talk about, it seems like the the flow of it is much more kind of a part of who they are. Whereas like I know from like juggling experience that if I'm trying to land a trick that I don't know how to do, I'm very much aware that the balls are like separate or that the clubs are separate from me, and that I have to throw them at just the right angle, just the right height, just the right speed, and then catch them. With all those factors still in mind, thinking about what kind of prop it is and what it feels like. So like very aware that it's separate from me. Whereas it seems like flow, it's much more about how am I one with this prop.
I don't think it's the difference between flow and juggling. I think that's the difference between the person and the mentality. Because, for example, when I was in Brazil, I was watching this guy, Anderson Silva. I'm sure you guys seen his stuff, and he
Hmm.
was like juggling seven clubs. He said he has like 87 catches, like it was his record or something, and he was just like rocking the seven clubs. And I was in the gym just watching him, and the feeling that I got from that was I felt like he transformed into like a giant. You know, like when I was watching, I was like, like the clubs. I felt like the clubs were part of him. The seven clubs in the air were part of him. And when you kind of think about it, the clubs are part of him because it's connected to his brain, to his arm, to use the right kinetic energy to throw it up in the air. So even the clubs are like super high in the air, it's still connected to the person. So when the person is juggling, the clubs are part of the person, regardless if it's clubs or balls or poi, I think. And then the approach of like if it's like one with the prop or not, it's not flow or juggling. It's everywhere. Like some people are like you watch a musician jam out or like a sport like Kobe. You know, like if they're like so good at what they do, it becomes part of them, regardless if they think about it or not.
So you would say that happens more with just how familiar you are with what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, you know, like how exactly.
Yeah, because I guess, you know, one of my favorite things to do, which I would never do it in public, but one of my favorite things to do is to put headphones in and put on some music, usually metal, and then just kind of dance to it and juggle to it at the same time, and kind of try to make a choreography for that song or whatever. And when I'm doing that, I'm not juggling. I'm not trying to do things I can't do. Like it is just kind of flowing out of me in a way. So I can see that. Do you think that jugglers tend to be more interested in achieving what's next?
That's an interesting question. I can't really say for sure because like all jugglers are kind of different, no? Like some would just be okay doing the cascade, and some would want to always keep pushing it and never be enough. So it really depends on like person by person.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out, or I'm trying to isolate what, you know, why there is a division between juggling and flow.
I think the division comes from the culture outside of juggling and flow. Not flow arts or juggling. It's because of the culture, especially here. I think in America, I think seems like this is my own opinion and experience that what I've seen. It seems like in Europe, there's more like platforms and the way they do things makes juggling more of an art form. And then while here in America, you had the vaudeville, and then it went to like a little bit more like sport juggling. So I guess like there was a division from the beginning. I don't even know how long ago, but you know, and then you have the popularity of Burning Man and all the music festivals where like people would see fire first. So jugglers won't really want to go to Burning Man and juggle in the wind. So, you know, so from there, I think is the division from the beginning. You know, that's what I think. Like, and then the flow and juggling is just a result of the culture.
I don't know. I feel like you mentioned. So you mentioned jugglers wouldn't want to go juggle in the wind at like Burning Man or some other concert or an EDM show or whatever, but
some might wanna, but you know.
I mean, I feel like if you had a heavy enough ball, or I mean, if you were just doing 3 balls, it doesn't really matter if it's windy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's totally.
But there aren't usually jugglers at shows like that, and I've thought about that too. Like, you know, because that's sort of something I like doing, right? Like in my spare time by myself is juggling to music. It would be fun to go to a concert where you've got a bunch of people doing hula hoop and poi, and then they go and juggle. But I feel like I would stick out if I did that.
I don't think so. It really depends. I think, like if you just I've seen jugglers juggle at like EDM shows, like, and I wouldn't say they stick out. They look the same as the poi spinner next to them. to me, like the clothes were the same, and like.
So I wonder if a lot of the kind of the divisions, like that perceived division between poi and juggling, is really just in our minds. It's not real. but it's just a fear that we won't fit in or get along.
That's a interesting thing. Like I mean, I guess I come from both sides. I play on both sides, and I can see depending. It goes like per person, right? Like if a person likes to predominantly spin fire, then like Burning Man or places that allows that would be great for it. Then if you're like predominantly five club juggler, I don't foresee going to the desert and juggle five clubs because the elements will like make it really really hard. But then that's just the most extreme sides of each because the five club juggler might be a Burning Man fanatic, or like vice versa. So each person is I guess is different in some sense. Like,
all right, so let's take it back a little bit to you and how you started in poi at all. What got you into it?
I came from the EDM shows. I started playing with glow sticks, and I didn't really want to spin fire. And then I saw I guess the first person that inspired me to go into poi was Ronan from Ireland. He's the best poi spinner in my books. I saw him doing contact poi on a video in 2009, and instantly I knew that was a different like ball game completely. So I got into poi from then.
Where'd you get your first set of poi?
I got my first set of from Homo Poi. I got all the sizes. I bought like the long, the short, the big ball, the small ball. Tried all of it.
And how long did it take you of doing it to like realize, this is my niche, this is what I'm meant to do?
I think about 6-7 months in, I went to my first event, fire drums, and I knew I had to be among this this community, and I didn't know it was gonna be my niche or whatever. I just knew that I'm gonna like invest a lot of time doing it, but that's just me from like ever since I was a child. Like I started playing basketball when I was 10 till 25, and that was the only thing I did 7 days a week for 15 years.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, that's just how I am. Like if I commit to something, I'm just full force. Like, yeah.
So you're a semi-pro basketball player too, huh?
I almost played for my country. I played for my state. Like back when I was back in Malaysia. And I used to play in Venice a lot, like many days a week before I even started spinning. So that was my thing.
That's awesome. Things we didn't know. So did you ever get into the other main props of flow?
I did poi, and what happened was I was hanging out with Ronan and a bunch of the Europeans that came over to teach. And at that time, it was like 2010. I realized they were all they could do all of it. They could do poi, they could do contact staff, they could do back crosses with clubs, they could do Diablo, they could all do all of it. And then from then I was like, all right, if I were to play this game, I would have to expand. It's just like basketball. If you're good at 3-pointers, you probably have to like work on your defense, whatever. And from then, I knew I had to pick up juggling and contact, which is I picked up contact staff and juggling at the same time, and from there, juggling kind of like took over because I felt the clubs were satisfying the feeling of poi and staffs together. They're like with 3 clubs, you have the staff feeling and poi, while the staff is only more of a staff, I guess. Yeah, at that time.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people do 3 staff too.
I just started getting the 3 staffs actually, but they're just really hard to transport. So like when I travel all the time, I can't really practice them. So only when I'm home a little bit. And I do a little bit of contact juggling and multi-ball, the rolling acrylics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
What kind of communities, or how have the communities of juggling played into the development of your style?
Entirely, I think. Like everything that I am, like everything that I do is from the community, like globally. Like I've learned from like hundreds of artists, jugglers, or spinners,
Hmm.
uh, and many people have like taken care of me, and yeah, everything that I am, like the business and who I am and what I do.
Hmm. Do you think that your style of juggling is kind of bringing the two disciplines together?
Oh, definitely. I do believe and hope so because, like, I guess when I think about the style that I do, there's like a couple of names that comes up in my mind, and they do it similar. And I think in terms of object manipulation, there's three sides to it. There's the contact, the throws, and the spin. So the spin is more the shapes that it creates around us three dimensionally, and contact is like when it's on our body, and then throws is like off our body.
Mm-hmm.
So when all three is combined equally, that's what I'm kind of like focusing on, or try to
Mm-hmm.
at least.
And what do you think is kind of your driving motivation behind that, besides the fact that you just enjoy it? Kind of
I
your
think
overarching goal.
my overarching goal. I think I went because of juggling. I've gone in the name of juggling. I've gone to Europe twice. Spent like about 3 months there each time. I've been to like South America, and I've seen uh, high level jugglers, like really high level that I really like in this particular style.
Mm-hmm.
And it I don't know, it really speaks out to me a lot, and it's just the beauty that they are able to create, and I want to create the same beauty as well and being able to share that with the world.
Mm. Okay, so you want to create something beautiful, something meaningful.
Yeah.
Um, and then I have to think that, you were talking earlier about how you were in Brazil and they didn't speak English, and you were still able to kind of teach them,
And
and
learn also. Yeah.
and learn, yeah, and there's, I don't know, that's something kind of powerful to be a part of.
Oh, definitely phenomenal. Like it was a yeah, life-changing experience. I think even till now I think about it when the people that I've met, the jugglers that I've met in Argentina and Brazil.
Hmm. So do you feel like the object manipulation just kind of connects you to the world in a way that you aren't otherwise?
Oh, yes. I'm definitely a more better human being because of it. I believe so.
Hmm. What's the most satisfying thing you've uh, experienced since you got into poi and juggling?
That's the most satisfying thing. Like for me internally,
Hmm.
I think being able to wake up every single day and being excited so that I can have just so that I can juggle. And each night when I go to bed, I just like want to have a good rest so that I can wake up and do it again. I think
Mm.
it's yeah, that's like the most exciting thing
Hmm.
ever
Hmm.
to anybody. I think even
To wake up and just look forward to
yeah, yeah,
what
like
you're gonna be
super
doing.
excited. Yeah, every day.
Um, what's like a? I'm sure you've got a billion stories, but what's a great or an awesome story of somebody who's come up to you and told you how like what you do has changed how they look at life or their life in general?
I do get that uh, on and off. Like man, there's so many of them. Um, but I think being able to, I mean, because of me doing this, I was able to travel. I think it's a big part of it, and being able to travel so far that I could never a million years imagine if I were in Malaysia, and being able to go all the way there and being received by the community at a different continent as if I were their own,
Mm-hmm.
and it has happened in like multiple countries. I think I've been over to like 20 countries or something like that, and it's yeah, it's phenomenal. It's I can't even just pinpoint one, and on each country there were like special people and special communities like coming together and just making me feel like I was at home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so while you may inspire a lot of people with what you're doing, you're also inspired by everybody else as well.
Yeah, I have a list of people that inspired me to the max, and I think about them pretty often, almost daily in my practice. When I'm practicing, I feel like I don't know, I feel like I'm more connected to them because they have inspired me through their practice, and when I'm practicing every day, I'm connected
Hmm.
to them.
So you have made kind of this lifestyle in addition to just something you enjoy. It's also what you do to support yourself. Is that right?
Yep, 5 years now.
And do you think does it ever, people say don't make your hobby your job because then you'll hate it. Um, have you ever struggled with that in the last 5 years?
I've struggled, I think, with when the hobby or passion becomes your job, it becomes a blend, and I think it's easy to overwork
Mm-hmm.
because you feel like it's play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm still like trying to piece it and figure that out as I even go, even now. And because it's weird because like I want to juggle all the time, and but when I'm juggling like 8, 9, 10 hours, 4 days, 5 days without seeing the sunlight, that's not really too good, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main thing where like you would overwork without even realizing it. So you're kind of becoming a workaholic, but you're not really working though.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's hard to sometimes it can be hard to maintain a work life balance.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of
Because
ways
work.
your life is work and your work is life. But
Yeah.
what falls to the wayside then? What's the problem? What gets forgotten about?
I think the problem becomes I don't know. I guess the problem becomes like you forget to enjoy other things. You know,
Mm.
like like other things that are happening in life where
Mm-hmm.
you're just dived into one.
Mm-hmm.
So mhm.
What are the your main sources of income?
Selling props and then teaching and yeah, organizing my events so that I can sell props so that they all three like facilitate each other,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yep. And your props, where are the props made? Are
some we made here in house, and then we carry Bailey Play and Henry's.
okay.
Mhm.
Um, which props do you make in house?
The poi and stuff, and then there's like some like clothes that we design on the computer, but then we
Mm-hmm.
print it somewhere else.
Right.
Mhm.
And let me see. Which one of those do you enjoy the most? The teaching, the prop selling, or the festival?
I think right now is the festival will be top, and then the teaching would be second, and then the prop selling would be third.
Mm-hmm. And then let me guess, the prop selling makes you the most money.
Probably, yeah.
So the prop selling is like the necessary evil so that you can teach and put on the festival.
And you get free props all the time, so
Oh, that's true.
I mean, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I mean, like before I started, like 7, 8 years ago, when I would have to buy a prop, I have to like think about it and calculate my budget, and now there's all these props laying around. But it's weird though. I don't go and take new props and use them. This is my second set of clubs since I started selling props 5 years ago. Like I don't
Okay.
really switch props. I just use the same one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, so your festival, it how that just happened recently. When was the festival?
The most recent one was in April,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
couple like a month ago.
And
It's,
how did it go?
it went really well. It was the best one yet. It was our fifth one in 4 years, and number six will be coming up April 27th next year. Uh, and yeah, it's amazing. I think we're one of a kind. I believe where you have the 24-hour gym, 9,000 square feet, huge ceilings, And we also have camping, which is a full gym and camping. And then we also have dorms where people can sleep indoors. And then we also have a full kitchen staff that
Mm.
facilitates meals.
Oh, wow.
So and you have options to buy and come in just like raw and just camp and bring your own food and make it really cheap, or you can go the full tier where you get everything covered and you just bring your props and you're set for 4 days.
Hmm.
And yeah, we had over 300 something people coming in from, I believe, 15 states. People drove from New York. I mean, flew from Alaska. There are people from Europe making their trip so that they can hit our festival. And yeah, it was really good.
What do you think
Looking
is the
forward.
biggest lesson that you learned from the festival this past year?
The biggest lesson, huh? Haven't really. I guess cinnamon rolls will always make people happy.
That's awesome. My wife, our daughter Ava, she's got a dairy allergy, so my wife can't have any dairy either.
Okay.
But for some reason, the cinnamon rolls that you get, like the grand cinnamon rolls, like the ones that are like cream cheese flavored, don't have any
Yeah.
dairy in them, which should make you a little nervous. But therefore, she's always like, "Can we have cinnamon rolls tonight?" Like every night.
Well, the other lesson I think I've learned is that if you put on a festival, like, and you're like running around doing stuff, you don't really get to juggle much.
Mm, yeah, yeah, that's true. And then, what was the most kind of meaningful moment of the festival?
I think a lot of it is before the main show. I usually give a short speech, and it's usually the thoughts that I've accumulated through the year, all compiled into one, and sharing with the community. And that's I feel like really important moment for me. And also the showcase right after, where I handpick and produce the whole show and bring in people from Europe and piece it all together.
Hmm.
So and I feel like it really inspires people when you have like super banging talent
Yeah,
and yeah. So that's like the pinnacle for me.
yeah, that's awesome. Uh, all right, so then you also do performing. I know this because I saw you at RIT. I have a feeling you did that for free, but regardless, you were there doing some performing, and I was just wondering if you have like a most memorable performance so far.
There's a few of them. One was at Kinetic Fire like a couple of years ago. We were performing in this kind of like barn where I did a silent piece. I was doing a silent piece through the year. And when I started, as soon as I started juggling, there were like raindrops coming down, hitting the roof, and then it started like lightly raining.
Mm-hmm.
So the rain, and it was just like a couple hundred people, silence, the rain, and me juggling inside. So that was really cool.
Dude, that's awesome.
And then the other one was performing in Europe at one of the stages in EJC 2013. So that was a really big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably something you never imagined. I mean, you didn't know about
Yeah.
it 10 years ago, but
But yeah,
but once you did,
definitely.
yeah, man, no, that performance with the silent performance with the rain, I can imagine that must have been like really powerful. Like
Oh
with
man,
everyone just totally silent.
yeah, people thought it was the soundtrack that I put on or something, and it was just the rain. It was talk about timing.
Do you think that like do you think you reacted to that rain at all? Like changed anything you were doing?
I couldn't remember if I changed anything, but I could remember like I don't think I've changed anything in what I was doing, but I remember the feeling of it, like like
Hmm. So for anybody who wants to get into anything you've done, whether it's making props or performing or teaching, maybe teaching is one we can focus on, or planning a festival, what kind of advice do you have for them?
I think what advice would be get a good like core team, like find people that will support your mission and hold on to those people and create good relationships with those people. And I think that will really propel anything that you do to the next level, I think.
What do you think's the main way you got your name out so that people knew that they could get props from you or come to your festival or learn from you?
I think in the beginning, about like 9 years ago, I started making videos on YouTube, and that had like started like a slow growth in people following me on YouTube and the stuff that I was posting. And then recently, in the past couple of years, we switched over, not completely, but we switched over to Facebook. We had the Master Ong Facebook page, and then after that, I added uh, the Instagram game. I mean, that's the hottest thing right now, I think.
So Instagram's where it's at?
Yeah, Instagram's where it's at. I think it's fast and it's yeah. But I mean, Facebook still it's pretty strong still.
One thing that's nice about Facebook is, well, there's pros and cons to it, but one thing that's nice about Facebook is it's just that if you, like on Instagram, the people that will see your videos have to be following you. Or unless they look up hashtags, which people, we don't really do it that much if we're honest. And then on Facebook, in that group, anybody who's in the group is going to see it, whether they care about you or not. And but then the con to Facebook is that after a week, it's gone forever. So
Definitely.
Whereas it's just the interface on Facebook's like if you post a video on a page or on a group on Facebook, the interface isn't such that people can go and find that video again. Whereas like on Instagram, it's super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's short also, which is nice. All right, here's some quick fire questions for you. What's your favorite trick or pattern to do? Since you don't have names for them, this could be hard.
When I think about I think when I was in Canada a few days ago, they said the same thing. Do something real quick. Do something like your favorite trick. And right away I did two tricks. One was the the 3-club buzz saw, kind of like on the inside, and that technically I think is Sebastian Vallard from Bristol. That's his trick. And the other trick was the one with the big arm. I really like that trick. And then when I saw at EJC from this Uruguayan, this juggler from Uruguay, Ale, and but the French people I think have been doing it for quite a while, I believe. I don't know.
And then what's your favorite kind of style to watch?
I guess my favorite style to watch would be the mixture of the three. Would be throws. There's some anti-spins, and then contact, where like not just the wraps, but more like the rolls. And the throws would be, I guess you would call them flats or lazies or no beats. And so when all those three things are combined, I can watch it forever.
Yep. And what's your favorite prop to juggle?
Clubs.
And what about your favorite brand of clubs to use?
I use Henry Pirouettes too.
Okay. Favorite music to listen to when you're practicing?
Favorite music? I bounce from anywhere from like electronic, like drum and bass, to like kind of like glitchy stuff. And that's mostly what I've been listening to half of my life, I think. But yeah.
Okay. Main primary inspirations.
Like jugglers?
Yes.
My main one would be Mikel Ayala from Spain, Lawash from France, Bruno from Spain. I mean, Javier Betero from Argentina, Joaquin Carmona from Chile, and Petro from Italy, Petro Silva Bonino. And then there's like so many. And I met this guy Sergey from Karlsruhe in Italy last year. He was my favorite juggler of EJC. Like he has no Facebook or anything though, but the guy was killing it in the gym. So Kino, Bruno's buddy from Portugal. I mean,
you could just go on forever, right?
I could go on forever, but these are like the main people.
All right. If people are interested in learning more. Well, no, we won't go there yet. If people are interested in learning to juggle like you do, what are some tips you have for them?
I would I teach this in my workshop a lot. Like I talk about like the five families of clubs where there's like the swing, throws, contact, scissors, and manipulation. So you can learn all each and every one of them at a beginner level,
Mm.
and then just taking your time and learning each and every one of them, and then kind of like mixing it up together after a while is will be the main way to go about it. But do not neglect and just focus on one. But kind of like at least have a few of them.
Okay, that's great. Say those five one more time.
Swing, throws, contact, scissors, and manipulation.
Hmm.
The manipulation is like traps and all the weird stuff.
Okay. Which you were showing some traps at the RIT festival, and I found
Yeah.
those possibly hard.
Oh yeah, I forgot one other name. This juggler, Sam Yud from Bristol.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like high on the list.
Okay. We'll put them at the top. What are your best practice tips?
My best practice tips. Oh man, I think for me personally, I've noticed that I do the best if I'm in a training space, kind of. And I feel like when I'm in a proper training space, I feel like I'm more focused. Like
Mm.
I feel like I'm my mind stays focused on the task at hand, and I go through the cycle of the things that I need to work on more efficiently. And if I'm kind of like at a park or at home, like I feel like I go in and out of it.
Mm.
So I think being in a proper space, in a proper mindset, would be like the best. Like
Hmm.
yeah,
So find a place where you're not distracted,
yeah,
where you can focus on exactly what you're doing, and that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. I think it's like studying, right? Like people like go to like a
Right.
place, a library to like mainly study. Yeah.
Hmm. And it's like, one reason why it's so hard to get work done sometimes is because you're on a computer and you have access to everything. But
Yep.
but when you're juggling, you don't have to deal with that. You can go somewhere and
Yeah.
just focus. How have you seen juggling change your life for the better?
I think when I think about juggling, I think about not just juggling, but prop manipulation, where like it came from poi and stuff before too. And the people that I've met uh, in the past 9 years, a lot of them are like, especially the high level like juggler spinners. I guess they're like really well traveled, really well cultured, really highly skilled, and it shifted my way of living life. I think like as before, I would just remember as like a young teenager or late teenager, all I wanted was like get more money and get more ladies or something, you know.
Hmm.
And then when I found the I guess like spinning or juggling, whatever, it shifted my lifestyle where I'm like focused on a craft, and the other things will come. Like instead of like focusing outwards, I'm like focusing just on what I love, and I don't know. It's made me a better human being. Like learn how to be more compassion and all the other things and stuff.
Hmm. I think
Minimalist.
that's a
Yeah.
fantastic answer. That's so good. So in a lot of ways, it's really changed your outlook from having fun or not having fun, but like from the pleasures of the world to more like just like what's actually meaningful in life.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I mean, being instead of like wanting more things, I want to have less things
Hmm.
in some sort of ways, you know. And by having less things, it I don't know. It allows me to focus on I guess who I am and what I want to do.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I had an experience too where I kind of had that shift in life, but like it took me almost dying for that to happen. So so, so, it's cool that you didn't have to go through that. All right. If people want to check out your stuff, where can they find it?
The best place would be you can find me on Instagram and my Facebook page. They're both facebook.com, instagram.com/Grand Master Ong. You can message me on there. I reply almost instantly. And if not, you can email me at Marvin at masterongs.propshop.com. Check out my website, masterongs.propshop.com.
All right.
Yeah.
And you just there was a question I have to ask you. Where did the name come from?
Oh, that's that's a good one. it's a short story. In 2012, before we started the shop or anything, there's a new festival happening in town here called Ignite, and the person that organized it brought me on board to help coordinate the workshops, whatever. And then I told my wife, I was like, oh, I should make a promo video to help like promote the video, whatnot. And my wife was like, oh yeah, great. We'll dress you up like the guy from Kill Bill, and you'll speak Chinese, and then we'll have like a subtitles at bottom. That video is still up on my channel on YouTube.
Oh
And
yeah.
so we took like really like took like boot covers, cut it up, like just paste it on. It was really badly done, and I mean, and then as soon as I put it on, I'm not really like a silly guy or a clown or whatever, but for some reason when I put it on, I felt like I was a completely different person. And I was doing the laugh, ha ha ha, and I was like, well, the character has a name, and I said, well, we'll call him Master Ong. That's what we'll call him. And so it became like an inside joke. So like people that knew me, who were friends with me, that only knew me, would know, oh, Master Ong, ha ha ha, the Chinese guy, blah blah blah. So it was an inside joke, whatever. But 6 months later, when the opportunity came to start the shop or the business with my brother, we were like trying to figure out a name to name the business, and then we were like, we'll call it the Master Ong's Prop Shop because the Ong is the family name,
Yeah.
and it's a family business. So yeah, and that's how it came to be. And it's funny. And after it became what it is, I remember the first few times like random strangers would call me Master Ong, like at a festival. I was just tripping out. I was like, what?
You're like, wait, that's not my name. That's just the name
Yeah.
of the business.
Yeah. But yeah, and over the years, I've kind of got used to it. So people call me Master Ong, and then the Grand Master Ong. People are like, so you like leveled up into like Grand Master? And I was like, no, because somebody took the Master Ong URL on Instagram. I didn't want to be Master Ong _1.
Right.
So I was like Grandmaster Ong. So I became Grandmaster Ong. And
That's
it's funny. So like, I feel like my friends that know me, they would call me Marvin. And I would like to be introduced on stage usually as Marvin. And then the people that are not familiar with me, they will call me Master Ong. But I'm cool with that, whatever.
So really, your brother's Master Ong too.
My brother's Master Ong back there.
There's two Master Ongs. But there is. Are you both Grand Master Ongs or?
Yeah. He's like the hidden Master Ong, I guess. He's like the one running everything behind the shop.
Yeah.
Behind the curtains.
The man behind the curtain. All right. So last word goes to you. Words of inspiration for the juggling community at large.
Keep juggling and keep learning, and don't be afraid to learn new things. Be open, I think. And yeah, that'll be it.
All right. Fantastic words. Thanks so much for being with us again.
Totally.
And everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this conversation with Marvin / Master Ong. Don't forget to check out my highlight reels and more interviews like this every single week. All right, that's all for now. So until next time, keep on juggling. All right, awesome.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, be sure to support the channel. Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe.